A top 3 fifth pick author of the CBS New York Book Club has a new thriller out with a mind-bending premise. The new book, Cross My Heart, is about a woman who receives a heart transplant who's convinced she belongs with her donor's husband. But then she soon discovers that nothing is as it seems. Author Megan Collins joins us from her home in Connecticut. Great to see you.
Great to see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we're thrilled to talk to you. Your previous book, Thicker Than Water, was a top 3 fig pick in 2023. Now, Cross My Heart was just released. There's a line on the cover that says she has his wife's heart. The one she wants is his. So how did you come up with this storyline? It's fascinating.
Yeah, so I actually saw an article in like 2008 about a widow who connected with the person who'd received her husband's heart after he had died. And I thought that was such a fascinating connection. It's so special and intimate and I'm sure really emotionally complicated. And at the time I started writing a story inspired by that was really just like a love story. And I got 2 pages into it and then sort of abandoned it. But as I started writing thrillers and publishing thrillers later on, I would keep coming back to this idea. And then I finally it clicked one day how I could change the premise to be much darker and more suspenseful. And then I thought of some really fun twists that could happen that hopefully readers wouldn't see coming. And it was sort of off to the races.
So Rosie, the main character, lives in fear that even with her transplanted heart, her time is limited and she may even never find love. So tell us a little bit about her.
Yeah, Rosie is someone who's gone through a lot of heartache, literal and figurative. She's had several big breakups, and she kind of blames herself for them all because her exes have always said some version of "you're too much," which I think is maybe something that a lot of women hear when they're just existing and showing their true emotions. But Rosie's inner circle is filled with people who found their soulmate pretty young. Her parents have been happily married her whole life. Her sister got married young, so did her best friend. And she works in a bridal shop, so she's constantly surrounded by women who have found their partner as well. And so now she's 30 and she knows she has this ticking clock with her health, and she feels like the way to make her remaining time worthwhile is to finally find the one and to have someone to share her life with, however brief it may be. And that makes her do some kind of questionable things.
Okay, so the man she wants may not appear as he seems. So give us an idea about him.
Yeah, so his name is Morgan, and he's actually, in the world of this book, a popular thriller author who lives in Rosie's town. And she's already a huge fan of his books, but now when Cross My Heart opens, she's messaging him on this website called Donor Connect, which allows organ recipients and donor families to communicate with one another. And the service is supposed to be anonymous, but Rosie has figured out that Morgan is her donor's husband through a couple different ways, and she's instantly charmed by him. He's got a similar sense of humor to her. He's kind, he's warm. But then she starts seeing rumors online that he might have actually killed his wife, the woman whose heart she has. So she decides she needs to investigate him a bit to prove them wrong, because this cannot be the way that her maybe perfect love story finally ends. And so in the book, we see Morgan's perspective through his messages to Rosie, but also his emails to his best friend, where he's describing meeting Rosie in person, not knowing that the person he's talking to online is also Rosie. And we start to see some discrepancies between what he says to Rosie and what he says to his best friend, which will give the reader some room to kind of start to be suspicious of him as well.
Oh boy, this sounds riveting. So you dedicate this book to anyone who relates to The Prophecy by Taylor Swift, and for every woman who's ever been called crazy by someone she loves. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was really struggling with the dedication for a while, and then Taylor's most recent album, The Tortured Poets Department, came out, and when I heard The Prophecy, I just knew it was basically Rosie's theme song, because it's all about thinking you found the perfect person, the relationship that will finally go the distance, and then finding yourself alone again and fearing it will always be that way. So I wrote this book in part for people who relate to that, to feel seen and to ultimately, hopefully, feel empowered after Rosie's journey. And Also, for the second part of the dedication, Rosie really struggles with the fact that her most recent ex, who dumped her while she was wearing her wedding dress, called her crazy on more than one occasion. And the words become kind of triggering to her. And that whole part of the story was inspired by this post I saw on social media one time that said, I'm paraphrasing, men love to call women crazy without ever examining what they might have done to make them behave that way. And so I wrote that this book in part to speak to that as well.
Megan, it's so great to talk to you. Congratulations on the new book, and thanks for taking some time to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
The new book is Cross My Heart. It's in bookstores now.